You're going to want to meet a very unique individual, Marianne Roberts. Marianne is really a volunteer globe-trotting evangelist. She has held ShareHim meetings all around the world. Since 2002, she has jetted her way numerous times to Africa, then off to Mongolia, then to the islands in the Pacific. Well, there are just too many places to mention. You're probably asking yourself, how could this retired scientist, who by the way is living on Social Security, afford such travel and personal time off? Here's her story.
I have to tell you, I really, really love evangelism. Why I love evangelism is because of what God did for me. You know, when I think of a trip and where I'm going, I think in terms of, what if I never went? What would happen? You know, and there, I guess God would reach the people by some other means, but let's do it and get it over with. Now, I've always done my tithe. That never bothered me at all. That belongs to Him. It's not mine. Don't even look at it. Don't even think about it. Just do it automatically. And, you know, offerings. I'm going to shock you by telling how much I get every month of my own money. It's $714 every month, and that's my money. But since this is the week Steve Jobs died, I'm going to mention that Apple computer. Early on, I would save a little bit of money every month, and so I bought some shares of Apple when it was going bankrupt. But I said, Apple will never go bankrupt, because I loved my Apple, and I talked to my friends. They loved their apples, and we were not going to let it happen. So I bought the shares really, really cheap, less than $10, and kept them, and I bought more shares as I went along. Okay, there came the time I wanted to go on a mission trip to Africa. I did not have any money whatsoever. I said, okay, I'm going to sell 100 shares of my beloved Apple stock. I sold them for $2,600. That was enough to get me there and back. Well, I went to Africa, very successful 2 campaigns, as I usually try to do. When I got home, I opened the newspaper, and looked at the stock things. Well, Apple, while I was gone, had split. I had my 100 shares back, and they'd gone way up after that. And so I was exactly where I was when I left. So I didn't do that. I just trusted God. I trust Him. I've seen Him work over and over and over. But let me tell you, I went to Alaska this year in 2011. I knew that I really needed to go. I knew that God was calling me to go, but I certainly didn't have any money at that time. Enough, you know, to do some things, but not to go all the way round trip to Alaska and stay there and all of that. So I have a rocking old broken down recliner, really, that rocks. I sit in that and I talk to God, and I said, let's talk about this. I need to go to Alaska, but I don't have the money. What do you want me to do? I rocked and thought, and I didn't come up with anything. I said, well, it's in your hands. I'm not going to bother you anymore. I don't think I meant that. I was going to bother Him some more. But I went ahead and made plans. Well, it's the next day. David got a thing in the mail, a letter from U.S. Airways. Now, when he was working, he had a U.S. Airways card where he got frequent flyer miles. And he opened it up and came in there and just showed it to me. He did not know, you know, that I'd asked for a fare to go to Alaska. But he came in there and he showed it to me. Do you think you can use this? I don't want to go anywhere. But he was going to lose his miles if he did not book them within about 2 months. I looked it over. Yeah. I called U.S. Airways. I wanted to see, you know, do they even go to Alaska? But I called. Oh, yes, you can get frequent flyer miles. They put me on a flight from Greensboro to Charlotte to Phoenix to Anchorage. Didn't cost me anything. And I could tell you just countless stories of how He comes through over and over and over. One of my favorites, though, is the Apple computer where, you know, He saw ahead. I think He saw ahead and just prompted me, and in our partnership, because it is a contract with a Father who really, really wants to bless us all.